This is episode 73 of the Dean Seddon podcast, and I am over the moon that we got so far, 73 episodes. This is pretty cool for me. I've been doing this for now a little bit over a year, so thank you for all the people who subscribe and download and message me to tell me that this has been helpful. I have got a ton of new guests coming, and if you want to check it out, please do subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or Amazon, or wherever you listen to it, because we've got a whole load of really interesting guests we've been talking to and probing and asking questions to help you build your business and grow your revenue. So welcome to this episode. We're going to be talking about buyer research today because ever so important now in 2023, as well, it's always been important, but it's becoming more so important because less and less of our buyers are actually spending time talking to us. They're actually doing more Googling, more reading, more watching before they actually speak to us. So when we think about this, we go, oh crap, what does this mean? It essentially means they are researching us, checking us out, doing their due diligence on us before they ever make an inquiry. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means potentially it could be way easier to convert people when you do a discovery call if they've done their research first. Now, the data coming out of all of the big platforms that are telling us all of this stuff is that about 5% of the buyer journey is actually spent with a salesperson or talking to an actual representative of a company who's going to help them buy. 5%. That means 95% of it is spent researching and doing things other than that. Making inquiry forms, filling things in, all that kind of stuff. And we're seeing more and more of people sending in emails to companies asking for information, but declining calls or discovery calls. It's because people want to do their research first. So what does this mean for us? What does this mean for us using social selling? What does it mean for our business online? Whether you are a large company or a small company, what does it actually mean? Well, importantly, it means that sales is changing. It means that we have to be way smarter in the way we approach stuff, and we have to help people do the research. So let me give you an example. For the last, 10 years or so, you've had people, gurus online going, I can help you build your business. And they talk about their multi-six-figure revenue, blah, 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 blah. So we've seen this massively on the rise. But when you go to Google, there's nothing there. It's like they don't exist. When you go to their websites, if they've got one, normally it's just a funnel landing page. When you go to Google, you can't find an address for them. When you go to Google, you can't find a phone number for them. Now, some of you listening to me will be going, Dean, it's a bit old school to be talking about phone numbers, and email and business addresses. Well, it's not actually, because one of the things that is very reassuring to a prospect is that they can actually pick up the phone and call you. One of the things that's very reassuring to a prospect is that you're openly advertising your business address. Now, we think in terms of online, why do we need to advertise our address? Amazon doesn't do it. Amazon doesn't advertise a phone number. Most of these big companies don't advertise big, phone numbers. But then you're not a big company. You're not a global player that's on the news every day. You're a small business owner. You're a salesperson. So having a business address, having a phone number in the public domain, whilst it might be annoying because you might get more sales calls, it's actually helpful because it builds trust. People can see that you're not a fly-by-night. There's an address. They can write to you. They can complain if they need to. They can ring up if they're frustrated or need help. This is why this stuff's so important. So that's a little sign. But what are you doing online beyond just putting out your marketing propaganda. What can people find about you in Google? What can people find on other platforms? Now, this isn't about being active on every social media platform and becoming a content creator and influencer. This is about, are you leaving a breadcrumb trail of information across the internet that is useful, helpful, and educational? That helps build trust. So whilst you might only get 30 views on your YouTube videos, and whilst you might only get a bit of traffic to your blog, it's important to put that stuff out there to show that you show up, that there's other sources of information out on the internet to help validate who you are and what you do. Now, most people miss this and they go all in on a social media channel, and when you Google their business, there's nothing there. People think that actually LinkedIn, if I'm really good on LinkedIn, that's the be-all and end-all. And to some degree it can be, but the more you build out off of social media, on the general internet, can actually help you with buyer research. So things like podcasts, YouTube videos, answering questions on Quora. For those of you who don't know what Quora is, it's a website where you just literally go in and ask questions and answer questions. What about things like, are you using the local press? You know, a lot of people say to me, Dean, there's no point doing PR in the local press because, let's be honest, most of my customers are not in my hometown. They're international, they're abroad, they're everywhere. Yes, but that credibility piece of being featured or mentioned in local press can help you. PR, public relations. Buyers are looking for multiple sources to help educate them and grow their understanding. Not just your website, not just your LinkedIn profile, not just your LinkedIn company page. They're looking at multiple sources. Google reviews, Trustpilot reviews. One of the fascinating things I've found about reviews, as I've done the research into what goes on with reviews. First off, the weird thing is, right, there is a whole community of people who will do fake reviews for you. Pay them on Fiverr and Upwork, and they will literally say anything you want. Well, I'm not talking about buying fake reviews. I'm talking about having presence in places that people can find. Really good, interesting thing about Amazon. When you see a product on Amazon with 100% positive reviews, we actually trust it a little bit less. We're looking for some kind of negativity too. If it's not balanced, we think there's something oddly uneasy about it. So don't be afraid if you get a few negatives. We all get a few negative reviews every now and then. You can't have 100%. Anybody who says we have 100% customer satisfaction, it's probably a lie. It's very difficult, but you should be in the 80s, 90s, and there. But having these sources of educational information scattered around the internet is there to provide those little touch points that help people see that you're the real deal, that you know what you're talking about, that you can add value into their world, and that you're trustworthy. I can go on LinkedIn and I can create a profile, I can create an AI-generated profile, and I can be out there pitching my offer till the cows come home, right? And I can do that all day long, but I've got no backstory. There's no internet trail of who this AI person is. They just appeared. So whilst it can be great to have this massive footprint on social media, serious buyers who are going to spend serious money will do their work and look around and see what you've been up to, how long you've been around, all of that interesting stuff first. That's basically what they're going to do. So it's really important that you use your time on the internet to actually build that backstory. So things like posting blogs on Medium so people find you. Medium's just a blogging site, but it's helpful to have something on there so that people will discover you in their feed. Quora, Google reviews, Trustpilot, getting some PR out into the local press, podcasts, YouTube videos. all of this stuff, and I don't mean do it all at once, and you don't have to do it prolifically like I'm doing something every single week or every single day, but having that trail of breadcrumbs to build that trust, and importantly, educational breadcrumbs too. Videos that speak to the problems that clients have, showcase your expertise and understanding of their needs and desires, wants and fears, all that stuff. Having that trail of information helps your buyers research as they go. And literally, I do this all the time, right? I get cold emails from people, and the first thing I do is I go to Google and I go and research the company and have a look. Is this company just made up? Is it just a front for another company and they're hiding their identity? I look at all this stuff, right? Before I ever decide to reply. And more buyers are doing this now, where they're looking outside of the bubble that they're in to validate whether this person is the real deal, but also learn about how they work a bit better. The best scenario you can have is that a buyer approaches you and with an inbound inquiry, and they've already done their research and want to know more about your service or program or product. That's what you really want. And that's about you deliberately putting enough information out there to build that trust and educate your audience. That's why I like to do webinars. That's why I like to do podcasts. That's why I like to do blogs. Yes, I can do social media content, and that's great because I'm building trust with my followers and connections, but I'm actually doing way more than that. I'm doing it outside of the ecosystem of LinkedIn, so people see me outside of the LinkedIn ecosystem and get to know me and trust me outside there too. Many of my connections that have become clients will have gone to YouTube, will have gone to the web, will have gone to blogs, will have gone to my website, will have gone through all of that stuff to go, should I, shouldn't I? Is this the right thing for me? And I'm in control of what they see. Now, if I just let the internet come up with it, it will be weird like Cyclex business directories and all that kind of stuff. But if I decide to push stuff out, and I'll just give you an example, right? If I Google my name, right? Really weird thing, by the way, in terms of my name, there is another person with exactly the same name as me who is a heavy metal band member, which I think is fascinating. So I go up to Google, and the first thing that comes up is obviously my website. Then it's my LinkedIn profile. Then it's Maverick's website. It's the company's house where my company's registered. My YouTube, a load of videos, a talk I did for another organization, Instagram, Medium, another podcast, my books on Amazon, my podcast itself, my Facebook page, my profile on Quora, my profile on Apple, SoundCloud, Audible. All these different things are loaded up in my Google of my name. So if prospects are searching me out, there is enough resources, and I don't just mean like directory listings, I mean resources, things that they can dig into to learn about me, to understand what I do, so that they can go, is Dean the right choice for me? Is Maverick the right choice for me? And they can watch videos, they can listen to episodes, they can do all of this stuff just from Google. And we miss this, right? I've even found my MySpace here, right? My MySpace. My God, I've not had a MySpace in forever. But they can find everything that they need to understand who I am and what I do, and learn about how I help people, education. And that's why I invest so much time in webinars on YouTube, webinars on LinkedIn, because I'm not just going, oh, I want to go viral and I want to get 1 million followers. Be nice. But I want 1 million followers who are the right people, because my business model is not about making money from YouTube. My business model is about selling my services and my expertise. So whilst it would be great to get, a nice 30 grand check from YouTube, I'm more interested in actually helping people and people paying for my expertise. So it's about education. It's about you using Google to create that breadcrumb of research information that people can do. If you've got a good news story, go to your local paper. It might not get you much business, but it's another little thing floating around on the internet to help build trust. If you have got a website, put some blogs on there so people can read up about how you help people. If you've got some blogs that you don't mind sharing across multiple platforms, get them on Medium, get them on LinkedIn, get them in various different places so people can discover them as part of their education process. If you're up for doing webinars, get them on YouTube, put them out publicly. One of the weird things, I'm just going to say this, I do all my webinars public. Yes, I get signups and all that kind of stuff, right? But I do them public because I want people to discover them, get educated, and find me. So a lot of my content, a lot of the things I share is ungated, primarily because I want to have that trust out there and that mass education so that if somebody's seriously considering working with me, there's enough information out there for them to make an educated choice. They can dig into my whole world. They can dig into what I've been doing for the last 5, 7, 10, 15, 20 years, and it's all there. So it's a really simple thing to do, and I encourage you to do it. Just literally do it. So buyer education is so important. It's not just about them being educated in your product. It's about you helping them see the value of your product, giving lots of information away, putting it out in places where they can research it and understand how it fits for them. Because we may have limited time with the prospect, and they may not inquire if there isn't enough information to support what they're trying to achieve. So I encourage you, buy a research, go and think about where are the places I can plant my information, my expertise, my knowledge around the internet that helps educate the buyers, but gives them things to research. If you haven't got stuff out there and your competitor has, they have an advantage because buyers are spending more time on their own looking things up. So if your competitor's putting out blogs, your competitor's putting out podcasts, you need to do something similar. Now, it's not a kind of rat race and you're all, I'm going to put out 10 times more than them. It's about being present. It's not necessarily about volume. It's about you making sure that there's stuff there. If you didn't get to talk to prospects, is there enough stuff on the internet that makes you look credible, that educates your buyer and gives them multiple touch points, multiple links, pages, resources that helps them understand how you help people and builds that trust? Buyers are spending less time talking to us and more time looking at us. So make sure there's some good stuff there for them to engage with us. Otherwise, they'll engage with your competitors.